The spacing effect, also known as distributed learning or distributed repetition. The spacing effect describes the findings that long-term learning is promoted when learning events are spaced out in time rather than in immediate succession. The spacing effect compared to massed repetition was discovered in the late 1800s by Hermann Ebbinghaus. He found he could remember something with fewer repetitions if he spread out his learning events than if he crammed them in a short space of time. The spacing effect was originally shown to be effective based on the results of memorization studies. More recent studies on distributed learning have shown that it does or can promote generalization, which is the ability to apply a classification or concept to a new context.
I feel good with it because it doesn't get so boring every day doing the same thing over and over again. Time is a slippery fish now. Time is a slippery fish now. And it's kind of fun because math relates to other math. It's everything mixed up, the first question put together it makes you brainstorm a lot of stuff at the same time, so you get to learn that. Measuring is kind of fractions because you break stuff up.
I like changing because it helps me for some reason. I guess when I'm doing just one thing, I get bored of doing it for the whole unit.
I teach in a 3-4 multi-age class with 19 students, all with varying levels of achievement, with some on IEPs. In the class, we focus on oral presentations a great deal of the time. I try to diversify and individualize the work samples as best as I can. The problem I was finding was that students were not remembering concepts from the years previous or from even months previous. Given that the grade 3s are a CRT year, I wanted to schedule more structured review into my daily routine. What I intended to do was alternate between measurement concepts and fraction concepts on a daily basis for a period of about 3 to 4 weeks, while at the same time building in review of concepts we'd studied earlier in the year.
Especially when you're learning about time and you're learning the quarters and halves on the clock, it helps a lot with measurement and time. Measurements help you with decimals because 0.25 is actually 25 centimeters.
One surprising result from this action research was that students said they were learning more quickly. At the end of the implementation period, I gave 2 tests. The results showed that students had just as high or better an understanding than if I had have given the tests separately. Another surprising result, using the spaced learning environment, we completed both units quicker than the suggested time period in either of the curriculum guides. We use the ideas we already have, the blue dots, to construct a new idea, the red dot, developing in the process a network of connections between ideas. The more ideas used and the more connections made, the better we understand. Some responses to this question surprised me. Mr. Han is building a patio and wants to partition 1/4 of it for a barbecue. If the whole patio looks like this,
it says how big is the space of the barbecue, and so
and it's really a fractions question.
Yeah, it's a fractions question. But I've made connection, put the area inside. In this question, the barbecue is 16 centimeters this way and 8 this way.
8 meters.
Yeah, and the barbecue is 1/4. That's 4 meters, and 4 meters plus 8 meters equals 32 meters squared. Or it could be 1/4 of the deck.
As I look back over what my original plan was, that is, how spacing learning events will affect student learning, I see I cannot actually test the spacing effect in a short implementation period. Connection, just can't make no connection, all I want to do. However, what I did learn that in mixing math topics or in blending the math topics and alternating the days in which they were taught back and forth, they made connections I wasn't anticipating. And they enjoyed math a lot more. Because students enjoyed blending the math topics and the structured review periods, and because they made connections and seemed to learn quicker, next year I will plan to use structured review and a spaced learning environment more genuinely throughout the year, so that students have a better understanding of all the topics.
My hopes are high, but my eyes...
Planning on a year of structured review may seem unrealistic. Where is the time coming from? Research on brain plasticity and learning offers hope. The initial learning of a concept increases the amount of brain space needed as new ideas are formed from our existing schemas. Picture the beginning guitar player whose jaw painfully moves as fingers try to find the fretboard. In time, the fingers move effortlessly. Proficiency means that in time, fewer neurons are needed and the neurons process faster. Perhaps structured review and practice will increase the connections between math topics, increasing understanding with other topics and require less teaching time, and allow for more time for, well, other stuff.